Hey, Trip here. This video is about the pointer option on the TGP page. There's a couple of very interesting mission scenarios that you could use the pointer in, and I'll mention a couple of those. But first, let me tell you what it is and how to use it. It's an IR pointer, so it's a IR light that emanates from the TG pod to a spot on the ground wherever you direct it, and you're directing it by slewing the pointer with the same slew switch that you use for the radar cursor movement. And it has 4 different light codes, so that you could have 4 different airplanes. Everyone in your 4-ship could be sparkling something on the ground, and each one would have a different flash code so that you could tell who's flashing what on the ground. So let's say I had a 2-ship, me and my wingman. I could have my wingman acting as a forward air controller, and he could be sparkling a target on the ground that I would look for. So to see these flash codes, we want to turn the pointer on, and you can do that as long as the TGP is the SOI. You can do that with 2 TMS right activations within a half a second. So that'll turn the pointer, it'll activate the pointer. The pointer actually fires with the first trigger detent, but you have to activate it first. So if you did another 2 TMS right within a half a second, you would allow both the laser and the pointer to flash. Right now our laser is off. Let's go ahead and turn that on and check over here. Let's see if it's in combat mode. 05. It is in combat mode. If it wasn't, we'd dauber up and then hit any button here and then hit enter, and it would be in combat mode. So once it gets warmed up, it'll put an L up here on the HUD indicating that it's available for use. So, but right now I'm going to turn that off. So trust me, there's the L right there. All right, we don't need the laser option here. I'm just explaining the TGP pointer option. Okay, so the different flash codes are accessed by going to the control page. I don't think I've finished my thought here. If I want both the laser and the pointer to be available when I do the first trigger detent, I just do 2 clicks of TMS right again, and that puts the word both down here, and the 4 means that the pointer is on the 4th flash code that's available. So now when I do first trigger detent, the pointer is going to flash on with code 4 light flash sequence. And if I do another quick TMS right twice, it turns the system off. So I'll turn it back on, and now to access the light codes I have to go control and then menu. And now that the SOI is the TGP, when I do a right TMS, it moves the caret here down a line. So if I move it down to the pointer line, it's telling me that the active pointer code is 4. If I want to change that to 1, 2, or 3, or 4, then I TMS up, and that puts asterisks around the 4. And then I can TMS right, and each time I TMS right, you can see that it's changing the light code. So when I get to the code I want, I TMS up again. And then I TMS right a couple of times to exit, and then I TMS up. That gets me out of the menu page, all done through the HOTUS, and then manually turn off the control page. You're going to have to turn off control once you get things set up for the system to work. So now when I do the first trigger detent, I'm going to see a light code flash here. And there it is. It's flashing in the TGP. And this is what the TGP is sensing. It's sensing the IR light. The TGP itself is just a light sensor, and it's seeing that flash code. And you can see that the code is active because P is flashing. And you can see in the TD box the where the pointer is pointing, and it's flash code. It's just a series of continuous series of flashes here, kind of quickly spaced. If I want to go to a different flash code, I could go back to control, back to menu, and activate this, and then change it to code 2. And code 2, you can see, is it's 2 flashes with a slight pause, and then 2 more flashes, and it continues on that way. If I did code 3, that would be a single flash, but at a slower rate than code 1 or mode 1. And then 4 would be 3 flashes and a pause, and then 3 flashes. So I think the two that contrast the most are code 1 and code 2. So the scenario would be if I had a wingman and he was acting as a forward air controller, then he could illuminate or sparkle targets on the ground for me to look at, and I would see his flash code. If he was on code 2, I would see these, well, I'm in mode 1, let me go to mode 2. I would see the 2 dots indicating his flash code. Now the beauty of this system is I don't have to turn the airplane, in order to use LST mode and have the laser firing, and try to find his laser code and make sure that I've got his laser code set on the laser page in the DED. So none of that. This is all visual. The laser's not even on right now. It's not part of the game. Now, in order to see this I have to use the NVGs at night. Obviously, you can't use them in the day. So the NVGs have to be on at night in order for me to see that flash that you see in the HUD. Or if I look over the canopy rail left or right, I'll be able to pick out that target. Let me see if I can move it over here. Yeah, there it is. I'll move it down a little bit. So there's the code out there flashing. Okay, so I can see that easily if I just swivel my head around. And now all I've got to do is turn the jet toward that code and then launch whatever weapon I want against that target. All right, so none of this is going to work any further until I get out of this. So I'm going to TMS right a couple times. Now, I'm TMSing right. Look at this. I'm trying to get the caret to move to the next line, but it's not moving. So this is where you want to, be familiar with the system. You don't want to get hung up on something like this. So why it's not moving is because I still have asterisks around the mode that I selected. So I need to TMS up to make 3 the active pattern. And now when I TMS right, a couple times it'll go down to exit. I TMS up, and then I get out of the control page. And now I'm set to go. All right, so that's how you turn on the pointer and change the light code, the mode that you're in. So 2 scenarios that I find this to be very useful. I don't know about you, but many times I've flown with LGBs, and I'm the second ship, and I'm in trail of lead, and we're doing a wheel pattern over a target area, and he drops his LGB, and then I come along and I've got something targeted, and I drop my LGB, and just about the time I drop mine, my target explodes because that's what he was targeting. So now I have to quickly slew my laser to another target and hit that. But if he had his flash code going, and he was sparkling his target, and then I was sparkling my target, we could see that on the either with LG, probably not with the NVGs because it would be kind of low angle here over the nose, but we would see that in the on the TGP page in the wide view. From higher altitude, I would easily be able to see, his sparkle and my sparkle. So now I know that I'm not targeting the same thing he's targeting. So that's one scenario where having the pointer at night would be very useful. Another scenario, another mission scenario would be firing MAVs in the Viz mode. So again, with the NVGs on, my FAC wingman is targeting something or pointing something for me. he's not locking anything with the pointer. All he's doing is he has the sparkle over the target that he wants me to hit. So I have to swivel my head visually and just rotate my head until I see that sparkle and then turn toward it. So when I turn directly toward it, I can switch to the viz mode with the Maverick. And now let me see if I can do that here real quick. We can power on the Mavs and go to a weapon page, and as soon as it times out here right about now, ooh, that's bright, so we turn that down a little bit. So there's the sparkle. So I can go to viz mode, and you can do that with cursor enable. So I can switch between the modes here. The same thing I could do with manually hitting OSB2, but with cursor enable, I can switch to viz mode very quickly. And now that puts this TD box in here, and it makes the HUD the sensor of interest, indicated by this asterisk. So now all I have to do is, in this scenario, I would fly this TD box over his sparkle and then TMS up on it one time. And now it tells me I'm out of range, but we'll just pretend like that's his sparkle. Actually, it's mine, but let's say that's his sparkle. And as I get in closer, when I get in range, I can take a quick look down at the MAV weapon page and just make sure that I have no flashing cross before I launch the missile. I already know I'm in range with this scale, but no flashing cross, launch the missile, and after I call rifle, he can just slew over to a different target, and then I could, with my next missile, I could lock up that target. So I get 2 shots off at the same time. So the beauty of this is I'm doing this all visually. He's not trying to guide my eyes onto a target. I just look out the window, I find his sparkle, I turn toward it, I put it in the TD box, I TMS up on it, and if what I'm locked on is sparkling, then I know I've got the right target. As a matter of fact, I could have him turn off his sparkle and then turn it back on just to make sure that I've actually got the correct target, and then I could launch the missile. So those are a couple scenarios that I think knowing how to use the pointer option would be very beneficial. Well, I hope this helps, and trip out.